People are like, oh, you must have so much money. It's like, no, I have maybe cryptos, but I got nothing. Yeah. I'm in a privileged position, but I'm really cash poor.
A lot of people say I want financial freedom.
I'm not a materialistic person at all.
Because every day I'm like, how can I get more Bitcoin? Young people should consider buying Bitcoin as a savings tool. So you can hold on to the Bitcoin, borrow against it, buy the house.
If you have it all on one exchange and one exchange gets hacked, your life's ruined, right? So what I do is I split it across multiple exchanges. And money loves speed. You got to be really fast. I'm going to like what I have to say. I would never buy Bitcoin if I was poor.
This is going to be so controversial. I'm Matthew Fraser, and this is Crypto Collective. After making millions with Amazon and e-commerce, I realized that if I was starting again today, crypto would be my first choice. I'm here to help you take your first steps and build real wealth. Ready to set yourself up for life? Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to the Crypto Collective. My name is Matthew Fraser. And today in the studio, I've got none other, the man who's taking the internet and social media by storm, and that's Harley, Crypto Hoddle. Hey man, what's happening?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Top 5 cryptos.
You're going to give everything away today, I know. But I want to dive into your life, how you got into this space, your background, some of the things that how big you've become on social media in really quite a short amount of time. And also maybe you want to give some tips on some crypto. So I think it's going to be a great conversation. Now, you're up here on the Gold Coast area.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, what brings you up here?
Well, I come here quite often, actually. I'm a regular now.
Okay.
But we booked this trip a long time ago in advance. So it happened to, we just happened to be here for a long weekend, and we're going to the football as well to watch the game up in Brisbane. So that's why I'm up here.
Awesome. Now, I want to jump into how did you become so big on social media so quickly in the crypto space?
Yeah, well, to be honest, for a long time I used to watch TikTok and all that sort of stuff, but I always thought it was for people who danced. And then my nephews were like, you need to go on TikTok and start talking about crypto. I'm like, really? Who's going to watch that? Some guy sitting there talking about finance and crypto. Most people on TikTok are like dancing. And they're like, no, it's not like that. The people talk about everything. I was like, oh, all right, well, let's make a video. And one day I just made a video and it did quite well. So I just kept making videos from there. But it's interesting because this is actually my 3rd account. So I've had 2 accounts before this and both of them got permanently banned.
This is in the crypto space though?
This is in the crypto space. So each time I've started again and again from zero.
Why did it get banned? Did you say something that was...
Well, TikTok's quite random. I can't remember why the first time I got banned, some BS. The second time was even worse. Apparently, I was naked selling guns. And I can tell you I wasn't selling, well, they said I was selling firearm weapons, not guns.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I wasn't, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't. But, yeah, and I just, for some reason, I appealed it and it came back as rejected.
Really?
Yeah, so no one, I don't think anyone actually sits there and watches when you appeal. I think it's just automated.
It's like a bot or something.
Yeah, like even when you appeal it, it's a bot. But then I finally got a manager at TikTok, so someone who actually works at TikTok reached out to me and said, you're one of our biggest growing creators. We want to represent you and look after you, all that sort of stuff. So they stopped me from being banned for a long time because every time I was being banned, because otherwise I would have been banned like 20,000 times, I would reach out to them and then they would sort it out for me.
Okay. And this is something that you can get, like, I guess once you've reached a certain threshold within the TikTok space.
Correct. Yes.
So how many followers do you now have on TikTok?
Well, now I think it's sitting at, it fluctuates. Now it's, I think, 138,000 on TikTok.
Oh, no kidding. You're in the 6-digit range.
Oh, is it? I didn't even look
you're
at it.
6 digits. That's incredible.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's 138. And then Instagram's another beast and it's completely different than TikTok.
I think you're like about 50,000 there, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, if you said to me 50,000 many years ago, like 10 years ago, I would have said, oh, yeah, that's all right. But these days for Instagram, that's like pretty big.
And how long have you been on Instagram?
Instagram, I started at about maybe 6 months to a year ago.
What?
I'd say something like that, yeah.
Less than a year and you're at 50,000.
Yes, because again, I had a different page before that and I got rid of it. And then I started this one, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Now tell me about your journey into crypto. I think you just mentioned before off air that you were in the fitness space before.
Correct, but that was a very long time ago, the fitness space. That's not how I got into crypto. In fact, how I got into crypto, and I used to actually be a prop trader.
Prop trader?
Yes. So I used to trade US Treasuries bonds
Oh,
on the futures exchange. Yes, for a company.
Right.
And so when we used to gather, every morning we'd gather at 8 a.m. and we'd look at the market before it opened, what happened the night before in the US session, what are the treasuries doing, what's our strategy, what's, all that sort of stuff. And it was 2016, late 2016, early 2017. And I was just new to prop trading because, again, like I said, from before I was in fitness and I was a teacher. So I was teaching physical ed and doing fitness and all that sort of stuff. But I'd always had this passion for trading. So I started working at this prop trading firm and it was like, first time. And it was like gold hits $1,200, Bitcoin hits 1,000. That was one of the things we were following for a long time. We weren't necessarily allowed to trade it though. We weren't allowed to trade anything but bonds.
Okay.
But it used to come on every single morning and then it just piqued my interest because I was like, what's this? Obviously being a young bloke, these are the kind of things that pique your interest, Yes, bonds and that are fun. But,
Crypto. Yeah.
And, a guy with like, from fitness background with no money sees Bitcoin, crypto. This is my shot. I can finally make $1 here,
Yeah.
This is quite interesting. What is it? Yes, the future. Yes, young. Yes, getting in early. These things, boom, boom, boom in my head. So it was percolating in the back of my mind. But, I was putting on this facade like, yes, bonds, yes, treasuries. But in my mind, I was like, I need to start getting into this crypto thing. But I need money to get into this crypto thing. So then I just, that's how it all kind of started.
Well, you just touched on something, Harley, then. So, because a lot of people who get into crypto, similar, like they're just the average person, right? And then you have to put money down, right?
Correct.
So what did you do? Did you sell a car? Did you just work harder? Did you hustle? What was the step?
Man, like if I tell you I didn't know anyone poorer than me, honestly. Like I was like the poorest person I ever knew. I had like basically no money. Like I was from fitness background and just like it's physical ed teacher, barely getting by. I was putting like, I went and downloaded. So what happened was I was like, how much money can I afford to put in? I was like putting a few hundred here and there. I went and downloaded this. I actually downloaded Coinbase. And Jack's wallet. That were the only things around back then. This was 2016. Actually, I think I didn't actually make the plunge till 2017. I couldn't afford Bitcoin, obviously. So I looked, what else was there? At the time, there were only 3 coins that were publicly available for like the everyday people like myself. It was Bitcoin. It was actually 4 coins, sorry. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and XRP. I was like, wow, what should I buy? So I bought, funnily enough, I didn't buy XRP. I bought Ethereum and I bought Litecoin. It was only a few $100s that I'd put in. And I was just like, every week from my shitty little income, I'm just going to put like $50.
Right.
And that's what I did because that's how I started.
And so were you putting in this $50 every week?
Yes.
What was the moment where you sort of looked at your portfolio and went, oh my God, it's at like, I don't know, 50 grand. What did it get to?
Look, I'm going to be honest because a lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to go into crypto with my $50 and my $5 and become a billionaire tomorrow. That's not how it works, as you can imagine. You actually need to put in quite a bit of money if you want to make money. And I'm being honest here. I'm telling the truth. I mean, I could, lie and say, no, it's all right. You could do it with a few hundred. I mean, you could be the 1% who does that.
0.01.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, yes, there's always exceptions to the rule, and there might be one person here or some guy who did that, and now he's all over the news. Now everyone thinks that's what happens, but it's not true. You need to actually put in money to make money. So I wasn't really making much for a long time. It was like a little bit here and there. But that point you're asking about was really later in life. Like it was about a year on. It was still 2017, but believe it or not, I happened to be in Las Vegas when that happened. So obviously I'd made
at a crypto conference?
No.
Okay.
No, so this is 2017. I don't think there were any crypto conferences or anything like that. And no one knew actually I was buying crypto back then. So no one knew I wasn't making much money, but it was money to me. Yeah. Someone who'd never seen $1 in their life.
It was more than what you had. Right?
Yes. I'd never seen more than like maybe $1,000 in my bank account. I had this history in my life where I'd had all these experiences and done all these things, but I had never had money. So I made some money. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Los Angeles because I'd lived in Los Angeles before. So I was like, I'm going to call my friends up and say, I'm coming to LA because I could afford to come to LA now again and see everyone and live my LA life again. So I was like, I'm going to go to LA. And as I, went to LA, and my whole time in LA, this money kept multiplying and multiplying. But again, you got to remember, it wasn't much because I only started with a few $100s, but it was a lot to me. It multiplied into the thousands, tens of thousands, let's just say that. And so I just, saw this money and was like, oh my God, I've got money in my account.
But you're like, I'm rich.
Yes. It's so funny now. I look back at it. But it was, it was pretty good money. And I went on the world's biggest spending spree.
Okay.
Like I was shipping back things home.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say what I was shipping back because it became ridiculous. And,
So Harley, you're making money.
Yes.
And then you were cashing out.
I was cashing out.
Right. And then what?
But
Leaving
not
some
to save, to spend.
Yeah, but leaving some in the market though.
Leaving lots in the market, thinking I'm going to leave this. This is going to go to millions.
We're just pulling off some of the profits.
Some of the profits to fund my lifestyle at the time because I was living it up in Las Vegas and in Los Angeles, and then I traveled to Michigan because I had family in Michigan, and I was just living it up, buying everything that was coming across my path. I bought so many jerseys. Actually, in fact, it's so funny. When I came back to Australia, I got stopped at customs and they said, wow, this stuff is very expensive. How did you have the money to buy it? And I was like, well, I work. I'm a teacher. I work. And they're like,
they said they don't earn that much.
Yeah. They can't comment on that sort of stuff, but I, didn't say much because they looked at all these NBA jerseys, like all these really unique ones. And, I had watches, and I actually got, they took my cigars away. I had a lot of cigars as well. I got caught with cigars. And they were just like, what the hell is all this stuff and all these shoes? I mean, I can't remember what shoes it was.
So you paid a bit on excess luggage. You came back with a truckload of goodies.
Truckload of stuff. Spent my money in Vegas. But looking back now, I wish I'd cashed it all out because eventually I'd learned a huge lesson and it all went to shit again. And I was poor once again.
That's so interesting. I spoke to a really intelligent woman the other day called 𝗕𝗢𝗧𝗖𝗢𝗍. And she said exactly the same thing. She said, in hindsight, one of her, upon reflection, was to actually have cashed out more.
Yes.
But she got to the point, and because I asked her the same question, what did it get to? She's like, at one point I was looking at my portfolio, it was at $20 million.
Oh, well, I wasn't anywhere near that.
She did really well.
Yeah,
she just lived up on the Gold Coast here, and she did cash out and bought an Aston Martin.
So, okay.
So she did really well. And so it's interesting that you've got the same. Upon reflection, I should have cashed out more.
And at the time I was feeling so guilty. Every time I was cashing out, thousands to buy shit, I was like, no, what are you doing? You've been poor your whole life. You need to keep this in the market and let it multiply. You need to really change your life, change your family's life. You can't be spending in Vegas like an idiot. I went to all the factory outlets.
Yeah.
And I knew I couldn't take all this stuff with me, so I was shipping it home in boxes.
Right, which cost a fortune.
Yes, but I was feeling so guilty. But in hindsight, it was probably the best thing I did. Otherwise, all of it would have gone to zero, right? I would have been left with nothing. I would have done nothing.
What's interesting though, all those coins that you originally bought, they're still around, right? So I guess
some of them are, yeah.
Yeah, the ones you mentioned at the very beginning.
Yes, they are.
Okay, upon reflection now, because I think this is where your insight is going to be really valuable, Harley. Looking back now, you took out all this money, you're spending it on just like, let's just call it rubbish really, clothes and this, that and the other, yeah? But what would you do differently now? Like if that's the case now, are you taking some of that profit out and putting it into real estate, I don't know, Picasso's,
It's a tricky and touchy subject just because, how do I say this? You've got to be careful about what you do with it because of the tax man,
Yes.
So you got to be quite careful of what you do with it. I don't necessarily pull it out, no. So I've got like multiple, this is my strategy. Everyone has a different strategy and that's fine.
I'm dying to know what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll have multiple wallets and I'll be on multiple exchanges. Okay. And the reason is because I've been in crypto now long enough to know exchanges go bust, exchanges go down. If you have it all on one exchange and one exchange gets hacked, your life's ruined, right? All your money's gone. Everything, all your crypto's gone, your investments are gone. So what I do is I split it across multiple exchanges.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, that's just silly. Put it on a USB rah, rah, rah.
Or you mean a cold wallet?
Cold wallet, all these things. Look, that's fine if that's your strategy, but that's not mine.
And is that because you're trading?
A little, I'm swing trading, so I wouldn't say
okay.
trading. So it's a little bit different. I swing trade.
Just explain to people what swing trading is in your terms.
Yes, so swing trading is kind of like longer term trading. Right. So like there might be a narrative for 6 months, which is like AI. So you buy all the AI coins, it fizzles out. You kind of just move into maybe stables, or you move into Bitcoin and just hold until the next narrative comes. And then now it's real world assets. Okay, now I'm going to pick the best real world asset tokens and move into those. And that will maybe run for 6 months or a year or something, or even 2 months, who knows, as long as that narrative runs. And that's swing trading. Now, if my cryptos are on a cold wallet, I can't do that. I'm boom and bust. Well, I mean, you can get your cold wallet out and put it back in and then start doing things. But you got to be quick in crypto. And money loves speed. You got to be really fast. It's really quick. You know, one day it's all about this and the next day it's all about that. And it doesn't wait for you. It's not like, let's just wait for crypto Hoddle to get his money on this exchange. And by the time you've even made that decision, you're going to probably make the wrong decision, because you're going to be thinking about 20 different things. So that's my strategy: multiple exchanges, multiple wallets. This is my selling wallet.
And that's more of a protection strategy, though, as you mentioned before, about certain exchanges could go down. So you're trying to protect your assets, right?
Yeah,
by not
I'd
bundling
say
them
so.
into one.
Yes.
What's your strategy then of when hopefully the cryptos go up, right?
Well, that is that too, because the ones I don't want to sell, they're in wallets.
That's what I'm going to get.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to get to.
So they're in wallets. I'll put them in wallets. So I'll have, this is my selling wallet. This is my accumulation wallet. This is my 𝗕𝗢𝗘 wallet. I have a G wallet. I have a wallet for everything.
A Jeep.
A 𝗕𝗢𝗘.
What is that?
Wallet. So this is my wallet to trade like a degenerate. Buy meme coins, take ultra risks.
So if you lose that money, it's no big deal. Like,
correct.
It's high risk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I will move money into there from one of my other wallets, not my savings wallet and not my pulling out wallet, but my somewhere in between wallet where I accumulate from. So the wallet that I accumulate from, I will move. That's the wallet. That's like the base wallet. From there, everything goes in different places.
Yeah.
This goes to the exchange, that goes to savings, this is going to my selling wallet, this is going to my 𝗕𝗢𝗘 wallet. So you have like a central wallet. There's not much in it, because you're constantly moving it out of there into different wallets to do different things. That's my strategy for that. That's so far worked for me the best, because I've had multiple strategies before and I've written things from hero to zero about 4 or 5 times.
So let me bring you back to this, because you mentioned about pulling money out. You wish you had done more.
Yes.
Okay. So is your plan then to eventually, let's say we talk this bull cycle, right? It's going to get to either a point where you pull it all out, or maybe you scale it out as it goes up. Is that your plan, to scale out?
Scale out, correct. But I'm not selling at the moment. Is that where I'm at now? No.
Okay.
Because I would never sell right before a bull market. That's just ridiculous. Now's the time to hold. You've had this.
But at some point, in your mind, you'll know, okay, and do you have it based on, I don't know, like an RSI, or is it, when the greed and fear index gets to complete
sort
greed,
of,
there's some metrics there? Or is it, hey, you know what? I actually would like to buy my own house. I don't even know if you own a house. But
yes, that too, yes.
So you're currently renting, would you say?
Yes.
Yeah, and so your goal is to buy a house. Right?
Yes.
And a lot of people are going to resonate with this, right? Particularly people your age who are trying to get into the property market. And this is something I'd love to touch on.
I'm very passionate about this and angry.
Yeah. So you're going to get to a point where you're going to say either A, I've got enough for a deposit, let's say, 200, 300 grand, like you can just pull out of the market. Or you get to a point where you've got enough, let's say crypto does exceptionally well, you've got enough to buy a house outright.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that something in your mind?
It is. And it's a never-ending battle. Okay. It's a huge decision, because I'm like, yes, like I said, I mean, I said I'm not selling now, but which is kind of like, I am selling a bit now, but I'm in a very privileged position to be able to sell a bit all the time here and there, only because, and my personal opinion, not financial advice, only because I'm savvy at this stuff. But if I wasn't savvy at this stuff, I wouldn't be doing that. And so I'm scaling up, because also one of the reasons why I'm doing that too is because I mean, I kind of still live like a poor person, to be honest. And that's because I'm well, I don't want to say I'm crypto rich. I don't even want to say I'm rich because I don't know what that means anymore.
There's
anyway.
different levels of rich.
Correct.
There's lots of different levels.
But I'm in a privileged position, but I'm really cash poor. Like, because people are like, oh, you must have so much money. It's like, no, I have maybe cryptos, but I got nothing. Yeah. So I've started cashing out because I'm like, I don't want to be an idiot who's just like made all this money, but I got nothing.
So are you cashing out bits? Because there's some people that live on in my world, I guess I sort of focus on Bitcoin more than altcoins. I do have altcoins, but it's heavily Bitcoin. And there's people that live on the Bitcoin standard, they call it, right? Where they have everything is in Bitcoin. And then every month they sell a little bit, enough to pay for the bill. So they sell it, convert it into fiat currency, and then live on those bills, right? Live off that money, okay? So that's one strategy. The other strategy would be hold all your Bitcoin, let's say, and have a job. So that now pays.
Correct.
You don't have to touch that.
100%.
Is that your strategy?
That's my strategy. And people always ask me, why do you work? Why do you have a job? Like some of my friends always say, oh, you're such an idiot. Why do you work? You know,
these guys are working. Are these guys working? Or
some of them are bums, right?
Okay.
Like everyone's from a different. I don't like to
give
judge.
Advice.
Yes, I don't like to judge people, but when you're giving advice, I'm going to judge you.
Yeah.
So and I'm like, you're the idiot. So I'm working because of exactly what you just said. It allows me to hold my crypto and get the benefits of crypto, and plus, I mean, without tooting my own horn, I'm a pretty skilled person. So why not utilize my skill
to get paid?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I work in quite professional services. So yeah, and that's why. And I'm like, and I have this time. I mean, I'm not just sitting on my computer doing crypto 24/7. I mean, if I was a prop trader, yes, I was. That's what it was like. You just have to literally stare at your computer. And we'll come back to that in a second, actually. People who follow crypto traders who put on a trade, go to the beach all day, then come back, that's bullshit because I work for a professional firm and that is not what you do. But
so let me just ask you then, because I'm just want to peel back another layer, Harley. So you're working in the trading industry or banking or finance? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and even if I wasn't, I can teach. And not only that, I was a great teacher. I can write. Actually, I do this sometimes for a lot of education departments. I write the curriculum for what people learn. So
no kidding.
Yeah. So sometimes I do that. So
have you done a degree in education or something? Or?
Yeah. So I did a degree and then I got my teaching diploma and then I went on to get my Masters of Finance and Financial Technology. Yes. And I'm actually enrolled again now in something else, but I'm actually now doing my Juris Doctor as well.
Stop it. The layers just keep peeling back.
Yes.
He's not just a crypto hodler.
No, not at all. So I like to stay busy and also my mind races all the time. I'm constantly thinking and analyzing. Maybe that's why I like crypto. It moves fast, just like my brain.
Yeah.
So I need constant stimulation. I need more and more and more. And yeah, I just love creating new firing patterns in my neurons.
Okay.
So I constantly love doing things. And I'm sure after my Juris Doctor, there'll be something else.
This is probably why so many people follow you because, you bring such a unique perspective to the landscape.
Oh, well, I hope so. Thank you.
It's not like me. I don't have anything that you've got. You've got all these amazing credentials. I did high school. That was it for me. But, that's amazing.
You're pretty, I mean, everyone has their own journey though. You're pretty successful. I mean, everyone does their own thing, but the way is to just own whatever you do. So that's, I think, why you're so successful is because you left high school, whatever. You did what you had to do. You owned it.
I'm sort of, do you have HEX debt?
I have no idea how much it is, but
this is another problem, right? This is another problem. So you get all this debt you got to maintain, and hence why we hope crypto does well.
Yes,
get rid of all that.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. So back to the plan maybe is to pull out enough money to buy into property.
Correct.
Yeah, and is that because you like the idea? Because there's two trains of thoughts here. You either like the idea of just, hey, this is my castle and I don't have to now worry about it.
100%.
Yeah. And the other side is, what's the other side?
Well, I think I know where you're going. So look, I'm not a materialistic person at all. I'm the least materialistic person. So I'd never just buy houses for the sake of it and just be like, look at me in my big mansion. I'm so cool. does not appeal to me whatsoever. I know I spoke about money before and how I went to Vegas and just started buying shit, but that's because I was really poor. I'd never seen money in my life.
And you're also much younger.
And I was much younger. And
We've
to be
all
honest,
done
90% of everything I bought were gifts for other people and my family. It wasn't
Right.
good for myself because I don't really care. I mean, everyone loves nice things and I love nice things, but I don't really care about that sort of stuff.
So what is then your ultimate goal then?
It is to have my own castle and make it my own castle. It's not so much
above that, Harley, right? Is it, hey, I want, like a lot of people say, I want financial freedom.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think it's financial freedom. No, I think it's to keep building because, like I said to you, even though I do have money now, but like I said to you, I still kind of live like I don't. Like I'm a poor person. I'm still like a family man. I still just rant and live day to day and all these things. And like I said to you, now I'm back at the university trying to get HDs in my Juris Doctor. Like they're the things that I value. So I'm too busy to be worried about materialistic ideals. So it's not really materialistic. I think it's more just building other things. I think if I had like an unlimited money tree, I would constantly be building things. So now it's a TikTok channel. It might be, I'm going to, build a DeFi exchange, build a new YouTube channel that talks about the law or talks about finance or talks about something or whatever. It'll be something, but it's to constantly build and have my own castle and make it my own and live in my own space and in my own world, I suppose.
There was a guy who, I heard his story the other day, and he had Bitcoin, and he had Bitcoin since, like 2014, right? He's had a lot of Bitcoin. And he said his biggest mistake actually was he sold a lot of his Bitcoin somewhere during this last decade and bought a house, right? Because he was like, I just want to just have this house. It's done then. Security. Okay?
Yes.
But now he's like, but upon reflection, I think he sold it. There's like 750 Bitcoin that he got rid of at the time to get the house when Bitcoin was worth like maybe $50 or something, right? And now he's like, I probably should have held that. And I think everyone's going to go through that psychological battle,
Exactly, that I'm going through right now where I was like, should I just pull out and just get my castle or do I just stay renting? And
I think what you're saying though about living poor, so to speak, is so great. And I was having this with 𝗕𝗢𝗘 as well. Like she's a multi-millionaire and she's like, I'm just trying to live like frugally. I just want to put as much money as I can into crypto and she does crypto, not just Bitcoin. Hey, just quickly, if you're ready to dive deeper into crypto and Bitcoin and build real wealth, join my free crypto collective community. It's where I share exclusive insights and strategies and live discussions to help you succeed. Whether you're a beginner or scaling your portfolio, click on the link in the description and join us today. Now back to the episode. I'll tell you something interesting too, Harley. Like I'm just selling stuff around the house. Because every day I'm like, how can I get more Bitcoin? And so the other day I had this like exercise bike. I'm like, I don't even use the exercise bike. And it was.
Can I ask you something about that? Isn't that fun in a way, in some weird way? That you sell something on Marketplace and then you get that money and you can buy Bitcoin. Like it's that process that's fun. Yes, it's the process that is exciting.
Yeah, and it was like something I wasn't even using.
Yeah,
whatever it was. And so like I sold this exercise bike for like $2,500. And I just put that into Bitcoin. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I was going back to with my friend. Like, where do you work? And I'm like, because it's exciting. It's like I did another job, actually. I was tutoring someone recently. And my friend straight away, how much are you getting paid? And I'm like, whoa. I mean, normal people, that's all they care about, right? It's quite frustrating sometimes. Like, number one, I don't care how much I'm getting paid. I'm enjoying this and I'm helping someone. And it's just part of my skills as well. And I'm building my skills. And it's part of the process that I enjoy too. It's like, once I get this money that I didn't really need, but it just came to me anyway because I tutored someone, I get to decide whatever I do with it. I could do anything with it. And that's exciting to me. I love the process. Okay, what am I going to do? I can buy more Solana. I could buy more, accumulate more Ondo. I can go to the Gold Coast with this money if I want to, something I didn't really think about. I could save it toward my house, whatever. But it's the process that excites me, and it's the never-ending building and helping other people that excites me, to be honest. And I know that sounds cheesy. I mean, oh yeah, everyone says, I like to help people, blah, blah, blah. But I really do.
I think I like to share my insights, my skills. Hence I have this podcast. I have, multiple social media channels, and I talk about things that I'm passionate about, which all relates to, for me, is about financial freedom for people. Because I've had a rough financial upbringing in my sort of my
Similar
years,
to
right?
myself,
I was not so much when I was a kid, but in
Like a young adult?
in my 30s, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So in my 20s, I did pretty well. I had multiple homes, multiple houses
wow.
in my 20s. Now, these days, it seems like a big deal. It's like, whoa. Back
Yes.
then, I was like, yeah, but I just read some books. I just read, there's no
Yeah.
internet, basically. It's like, I was buying Tony Robbins on friggin' DVD or CD, right? Delivered to the house. Okay. So this is back in those days. This is like 2000. Okay. And by the time I was 25, I had, I think 4 houses, 4 properties around Brisbane. And it was for the pure sake that I was like, I want to get financially free. And at the time it was real estate. Real estate was the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I've done a complete backflip where I've actually just started selling real estate, like commercial real estate that I own, to put it into Bitcoin.
Into crypto. So you're doing the opposite of me.
I'm going up, but I have a house though too.
Yeah, right.
So I would say, look, my castle is done. Yeah, you're wanting to get to your castle. So I understand that desire.
Yes.
And you know what? Even if it's like, I spoke to a friend the other day, and my house is multi-millions. And I said, yeah, but and I'm always striving for the next thing. I just like the drive of it.
That's
right?
like me. Exactly. I know exactly how you feel.
And I said, yeah, but if someone just said to me, this is it for you, this house is it, I'd be like, no problem, right? And I said, but
Same.
the last house I was in, which was, sort of a quarter of the value, right, in more of a suburban area, I would have been totally fine there too. Yeah, because I think it's about how you feel inside as a person, not sort of how many square meters your house is.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And are you like are you kind of like me? You're not really a materialistic person.
Look, I do. I go through phases.
I mean, yeah, we all have a bit of us that
I've got
loves
nice
a bit
cars
of
and things like that. I don't need those cars. There's basically $400,000 worth of cars just daily. Like that Mercedes out there is like nearly 200 grand. You know what I mean?
It was really nice.
It's a nice Mercedes.
Yes.
Yeah. Do I need it? No. It was just one of those ones though. When I was financially struggling, it was on my wall, right? Which was like, hey, I want to get one of these one day. So it drove me to that.
Yeah, right.
A Porsche was a good example. Another example, like a Rolex. I always want a Rolex watch for some reason, right? Now, I don't have a Rolex watch. I have a Tudor watch. Much cheaper.
If it makes you feel better, I don't even like Rolex watches. They don't even look nice.
But the point is though, Harley, I got to the position, and this is before crypto. This is actually during my online sales and things like that. And I was like, I'm getting that fucking Rolex, right? I deserve it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I put the call in. I spoke to a mate who could get one, and da. And then he came back to me about a week later and said, oh, I can't get that watch for you from XYZ dealer. But by then though, I'd already psychologically pulled the trigger. So in my mind, I'd already owned it.
Yeah, right.
And now it's like, oh, I don't really want it anymore. So therefore I didn't get it.
Oh, you
because I'd already felt like I'd already bought it.
You'd already owned it.
I got
because
through
you
the
got
challenge of psychologically
That's what I was saying before. It's the process that is exciting. Because like going back to that tutoring thing, when I actually did get paid and then transferred the money, from tutoring, which is nothing, but it's just the principle I'm talking about here. I was no longer excited. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that was all right. But, but before I was like, oh, how can I be creative with this and all that sort of stuff? It's not quite the same as the Rolex, but yes, it's the process that's exciting. But most people are attached to the outcome. And I feel like even I was most people a long time before. And I feel like as long as you're attached to the outcome, you're never going to make a penny.
Well, you're never going to make it.
Yes.
Right? Because even if you relate that into the crypto space, it could be anything, right? Whether it's learning how to sell on Amazon or Shopify, whatever, which is what I still do actually. But if you don't like the journey and the process of doing it, you get bored very quickly.
Yeah.
If you like personal training, right?
Correct.
If you didn't like personal training, you'd probably quit pretty quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. because you just like the process of it.
You've got to enjoy the process. It's so funny though you say that, because one of the things I don't necessarily enjoy is constantly filming on TikTok.
Right.
Yes. But somehow
You should get an amazing team behind you.
I have thought about that before as well, but because I'm all over the place, because I work and I do this and I do that and all that sort of stuff, I haven't gotten a team yet, but I'm like, once I settle, which I never seem to settle in my life because I'm constantly doing things and ending up in different places, I was like, I will get a team. But I feel like that's what's stopped me, because I know we talk about, oh yeah, I've got 138,000, but I could have easily had, I think, 1 million followers had I loved it.
Harley, I think whatever you're doing in the social media space, team or no team, right, is obviously working. So it might be just the way you edit it. You just have like a gift of just the way you structure the video, whatever the messaging is, the thumbnail, the title, whatever it is. And that just works. And maybe if you hadn't gone to a team, they put all their ideas into it, and maybe it might not have been as successful.
You are right. I did, because I did toy with this idea about, and my old page actually, before I got banned, and I hired a professional and we made professional videos, and they didn't do well. And so I quickly killed off that idea, because I move quite fast. So I straight away, it's not working. I can tell it's not working. And so I killed off that idea. And that's why I never really reattempted it, because I tried it before and it didn't work.
Okay.
So you could be right.
Yeah. Now I want to just turn the conversation somewhat differently. I'm very much into, I mentioned before about people doing well, like through financial freedom. Right. And most people want that. And not only is it very difficult right now, as you mentioned before, about getting into the property market, like that's like, obviously we're having the election right now. It's the hot topic. Everyone's talking about young people getting into properties and they can't do it and everything. But I think there's a couple of things. One is young people should consider buying Bitcoin as a savings tool, okay, to build up for let's say even a deposit on a property. Now, I used to also be in the property market. I was still in the property market, but I used to be a mortgage broker when I was in my 20s, right? So I used to help people structure their finances and tell them how to get into it and what have you, right? And so I think the best way right now is actually to, rather than putting your savings into a bank, okay, and taking like 10 years to get a deposit, and of course, by that time, the property's doubled anyway. The alternative is actually put that same money into Bitcoin, and you'll know this, that over the next, we're going to forecast that Bitcoin is going to do probably between 30 to 50% CAGR, compounding annual growth rate, right? So the money they're going to have at the end of 10 years compared to not having it in the bank is going to be far greater. They may even have enough just to buy the house outright if they wanted to do that. My suggestion would be, though, actually to not sell the Bitcoin at that point. Let's just say you put 100,000 in, let's just, for argument's sake, say it's $10 million now. I would say actually don't sell the Bitcoin and borrow against the Bitcoin, because banks, rephrase, financial institutions in Australia right now, you can already lend against Bitcoin. So you can hold on to the Bitcoin, borrow against it, buy the house. See, just something to throw out there. What do you think?
You're not going to like what I have to say. And I'm going to
give it to me, Harley.
I'm going to be a contrarian. And it's like a crypto guy telling people not to buy cryptos. What the hell? But I would say that I'm a pretty risk averse guy, just because I've been very pro risk before in my life, and it's never really paid off, to be honest. I think maybe because I've been extremely risky. And I think maybe just because I've been poor for a very long time, I would say that is very risky. And just, if you think you're poor now, you can still get poorer. So I think that is a very risky thing to do.
So what's the solution then?
To balance it out. Maybe not put all of your money into Bitcoin, in my opinion.
We're just talking about savings. Not
even
like every
savings,
cent.
because the thing is, I know Bitcoin goes up, but houses go up so fast as well. You will never, it's really hard to catch them.
Bitcoin's growing at a faster rate than housing though.
Yes, but in real terms, the price of a house is much bigger. So like every year the house price goes up, well, I don't know here, but in Sydney it goes up about 200,000-300,000. Lately, in the past few years, it's been going up like 200,000, depending where you want to live. You're never in real terms going to get that in Bitcoin. As much, I know it multiplies in percentage, but it might not. Whereas houses have shown that they will regardless.
So how do people get into the property market?
So my opinion is,
yeah.
Gosh, now I'm just being a paradox because I've just said that's too risky. But here's a bit more risk. My opinion is, if I was to do it all over again, and I was like, I really need to get into the housing market, and this is going back to 2018, 2019, Harley is really poor, and it's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put half of my money and spread it across 3 altcoins. Because if I think Bitcoin's going to go up, then the altcoins are going to go up. If I think Bitcoin's going to go down, then the altcoins.
This is going to be so controversial because I'm going to say that putting it into the altcoins is way riskier.
It is, but you're doing it with much less money because your risk reward ratio is much higher.
That's the way you're seeing it. Okay.
Yes. And when you're really poor, they're the kind of decisions you have to make. If you are rich, I would say what you just said, congratulations, you are so right. I would 100% do that if I was rich and comfortable.
So let's nail this down. Your strategy would be to put, let's say you can save $1,000 a month. So your strategy would be put $500 a month into the bank, $500 spread out across a couple or 3 cryptos that you think you're going to do well.
Yes, that's exactly what I would do. And I wouldn't go down too much down the risk curve.
But not Bitcoin though, just to be clear.
I'm going to say it, and I know this is so controversial. I would never buy Bitcoin if I was poor, no. If I was rich, I would buy Bitcoin, yes.
Is that because you see Bitcoin as a store of value?
It's a store of value. It's not going to go up. I mean, the law of diminishing returns, it's impossible that it's going to go up much, much more. It will go up more, in my opinion, but much, much more. You might get a 2x out of it.
You're talking this cycle though.
Yes, but you can always come back later. But for now, you want to be in it now in this cycle, and then you can sell and you can come back in.
This is the mistake, though, I think, Harley, that some people make is they try and time the market, because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about timing it as in buying into Bitcoin and maybe selling at the top and then buying when it comes back down into the bear. Is that what you're talking about?
A little bit, yes.
Which is where people get wrecked, because it's so difficult to time the market bottom and the top. And so the idea that I would say would be to buy into Bitcoin and hold it, okay? You know, I guess you could say like what Michael Saylor does. He buys at, and you're going to say, well, he's rich, yeah, but he's buying it at every point, when the dip, at the top, at the dip, at the top. And so over time, we can only look at history, right?
Yes, yes.
So last year, Bitcoin did 120% in the year. The last 5 years has been 50+% annual average growth rate, right? And 10 years has even been more than that. So,
but in real terms, it has not gone up anywhere near close to a house. So if you were holding Bitcoin and you rode it all the way down in 2022 to 16,000, and only now is it back up to 60 to 80, in that time, houses have shot to the moon and beyond.
You have to keep buying the Bitcoin though. That's the trick, right?
Yeah,
so
yes.
what I'm talking about is...
Okay, well, that's a different strategy then, yes.
You're buying... So back to the savings plan.
Yes.
Okay, so you're always putting in essentially, let's say you're getting $1,000 in savings a month. You put that $1,000 into Bitcoin every month over the next, let's say even 5 to 10 years. Okay, let's say, because otherwise that's roughly how long it may take you to save up for a deposit. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying, as opposed to just putting in $10,000 now and then see where it sits in 2 years. Because then you could be fucked.
Yeah, correct. Now, another thing you have to remember is when you buy a house, you're basically leveraging. Mm-hmm. So yes, you're putting $10,000, but your money is multiplying by, however X you own the bank. So it's not, that's another thing you have to factor in. So that's a huge opportunity cost as well. Because if a house goes up 20%, your deposit was only 2%, you've 10x'd your money. So you can't compare apples with oranges, because you're comparing leverage with Bitcoin.
Yeah, but we're talking about just getting the deposit.
Okay,
just to
getting the deposit, yes.
Just getting into the property, right? So I'm comparing, just to be clear to the audience, putting the money in the bank. Yeah, we're getting 0.5% maybe, compared to putting it into Bitcoin. All of it into Bitcoin every single month for, let's say, at least the 5 years. And Harley, I'm going to do the maths.
Do it.
You got me now.
But you remember, you can't compare apples with oranges, so you have to leverage your $10 or whatever you're putting in by 10x. Because usually when you're borrowing from a bank,
Yeah.
you're only putting in 10% and you're getting 10 times more of your money. So it's really a 10x long on Bitcoin.
So let's say, and the audience is going to be on just waiting on the edge of their seat now for what this number is going to be. I'm going to say that Bitcoin is going to be at least 30% compound, at least. Yeah, last year was 120. I'm just saying 30. Okay, for the next 10 years.
And I'm still going to say I still prefer altcoins.
Yes, yes, which is a different
I
strategy.
I think so.
So you're going to have $730,000.
How much?
730.
And how much is your house worth now?
Well, forget about the house, because otherwise, if you put that same money into the savings account,
Oh, yeah.
you see, 1%, you're going to have 126,000.
Well, actually, they're not too bad now, the saving percentage. They're like
They've gone up.
4% or something, yeah.
Anyway, this has made such a great conversation. I would just say to everyone, do their own research. Harley has a different view, which is a view to have, yeah, because you're right. It's not a wrong view. Altcoins could do better than Bitcoin as far as a return goes, right? I just wouldn't do that if I was uneducated, because you've got education behind you.
Yes, that's true. But you know what? Now you've got people like me on TikTok, you've got YouTube, all these things. When I first started, there was no one. There was crypto banter, and there was this other guy who ended up being a scammer. His name was Alex Saunders. I don't know if you know him, Nuggets News. Well, he was actually an Australian crypto content creator. One of the first ones. It was like the biggest. He was taking money off his followers to join his group or whatever and invest for them, and then leverage trading, and he got wrecked.
Oh.
He ended up getting charged, and I don't know what happened to him. But yeah, but there were only like 2 people. But now there's so much information out there. But I also think before you take these decisions, you have to really understand who you are. If you're someone who has $500 to your name, I suppose buying Bitcoin is not really going to change your life. We've got to be really realistic here. So you got to know who you want, what you actually want. Do you want $5,000 or are you trying to get 500,000? If you're trying to get 500,000, then your risk appetite has to grow exponentially.
Yeah.
If you're after 5 more thousand, sure, go for Bitcoin, go for Ethereum. If you're after somewhere in between, so you got to really understand who you are and what your background is, and you have to be really realistic. You cannot make a decision based on the anecdotes of the 0.1% stories you hear.
No, that's right. And you're right in saying too, it comes back to risk profile.
Yes.
Right. You might just be someone who's not willing to put money into, let alone altcoins, Bitcoin.
Correct.
Right. Bitcoin, for those who are new to crypto, would be considered the safest bet. Okay.
Yes.
Hence why what you're saying, it may have the least amount of return compared to some other altcoins. Maybe. It might, but you don't really know. I guess that's what we don't know the future, do we?
At the end of the day, though, Bitcoin is still a risk asset, no matter how much people are trying to paint it as a gold. The truth is, you know, when times are ugly or difficult, it goes down. When times are great, and when I say great, maybe not necessarily economically great, but great in terms of money supply and low interest rates, then it will pump. It will go up because it's still considered a risk asset. And it's actually one of the reasons why it's actually holding quite strong now. Despite all the drama that's happening in the world, is because it's future pricing in the interest rate cuts and liquidity. So that tells you it's a really risky asset at the same time. So people still do need to understand that, though.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, before you go,
Yes.
I'm going to put something to you because I've got some notes here. Now, I want to know, Harley, because you did this on one of your recent videos.
Yes.
You said the top 5 coins to rebound, which is you're talking about after the recent dip.
Yes.
Yeah. Were Solana,
Yes.
Chainlink,
Yes.
Sui,
Yes.
ETH,
Yes.
and Aave. And my question to you is, did they rebound or did they not rebound?
They've probably held the strongest, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So they haven't been massacred like the others. The whole market hasn't really rebounded yet, so I can't answer that, but they have held the strongest. But I'm surprised I didn't mention another coin in there.
What is it? What is it, Harley?
And I'm going to tell you what it is. And it's actually my favorite coin. And I think this is going to be the leading coin for the real world asset tokens moving into this cycle. And that's Ondo.
I do hold some Ondo.
Yeah.
Yeah, small amount.
Yes. So especially now with Mantra being out of the picture, that's better for Ondo. And I mean, I don't know how true this is, but there is speculation that BlackRock is accumulating coin like Ondo. And those coins that I mentioned that were from there, I mean, there's some rationale behind them why I said them too, is because, I don't know if you know, Trump has a crypto investing fund.
And Liberty Finance.
Liberty Finance. And they were the coins that they were accumulating. And they're American coins, which have all these tax benefits and America imperialism benefits right now. So that's the reason why I used my mind to calculate that they would outperform
That's
the
awesome.
market.
Well, folks, there you go. You've heard it from Harley, Crypto, Hoddle first, which coins he thinks are going to be the best ones to invest in for the rebound and probably into the future, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, because they're pretty risk-averse coins too. So that's another reason.
There you
why
go.
put them
I
in there.
think we're going to have to get Harley back on a future episode because there's so much to debate. There's clearly a division between Bitcoin and altcoins. But Harley, I want to thank you so much. Now, if people want to find you, where can they get a hold of you?
So on TikTok, this is Crypto Hoddle. And on Instagram, it's a different name, isn't it? Because it was from a previous page I had. I think it's on Instagram. It's I am Crypto Hoddle.
I think that's right. I think it's I am Crypto Hoddle.
Yeah, because remember, I've been banned so many
It is.
times.
It's
I've
I
had
am
to keep
Crypto Hoddle. But
changing
in any
names.
case, I'll leave some links in the description of this video. And thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much for coming in,
Thanks
Harley.
for having me. It's been fun.
Thanks for tuning in to Crypto Collective. If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your support is to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. You can also find more of me at I'm Matthew Fraser on all social media platforms.